In this video, I will be going over the Royal Navy ranks during the First World War and how they were displayed on the uniforms. I will discuss the different types of sleeve insignia, the shoulder epaulettes, the covers and devices on such, the enlisted ratings of the Navy, and the rank placement on the different types of uniforms. Timestamps for each section are in the description below, so let's get right into it. For the first section, I will be going over the officer sleeve insignia. The rank structure of the Royal Navy closely resembles other navies at the time and currently, so with the sleeve ranks being very similar to the United States Navy. A boatswain under 10 years of service would have 3 sleeve cuff buttons with no added rank, whereas a boatswain with 10 years or more of service added a half stripe and ring to their rank. A chief boatswain still garnered the cuff buttons, but now has a full stripe and ring. And a sub-lieutenant removes the 3 buttons, remaining with 1 stripe and 1 ring. Similar to the previous, a lieutenant has 2 stripes in the ring, a lieutenant commander has 2.5 stripes, a commander 3 stripes, and a captain 4 stripes, all with rings. And a commodore has a larger stripe with 1 ring, a rear admiral adds another smaller stripe, a vice admiral adds 2 smaller stripes, and an admiral 3 smaller stripes, while the fleet admiral adds 4 smaller stripes, all with a ring on top again. And it's also important to note that until 1915, only the military branch had rings on their sleeve rank, whereas officers in a non-military branch, such as engineering, only had these stripes. In 1915, the engineering branch was merged with the military branch, and in the process added rings to their sleeves as well. And by 1918, all branches had rings on their sleeves. Moving on to the shoulder epaulettes worn by officers, we'll start with the sub-lieutenant rank. The sub-lieutenants wore a silver anchor with no fringes, a lieutenant wore a silver anchor with fringes, and a lieutenant commander wore a silver anchor with an 8-point star. A commander added a crown to the epaulette, and a captain wore a silver anchor, star, and crown. A commodore wore 2 stars with the silver anchor and crown. A rear admiral wore a cross saber and baton, star, and crown. A vice admiral wore 2 stars with the cross saber and crown, and an admiral wore 3 stars. A fleet admiral wore crossed batons over an oak leaf pattern along with a crown. As you can see with the engineer epaulette below, it is outlined with the color of the grouping, in this case silver, to distinguish their branch, and in this case had golden stars instead of an anchor and star. So the ranks shown would depict, in this case, an engineer captain. As you can see, the 2 stars make up the anchor and star. The next portion of the video, we will be going over the rates and rank devices for the enlisted sailors. The rating badges were worn on the upper left sleeve and indicated rank. Gold badges were worn on the number 1 uniform, red on the blue uniforms, and white obviously on the white uniforms. The men who comprised the seaman ranks wore the single anchor with rope. The petty officers wore the crossed anchors with crown above, and also on the left sleeve, directly below the rating badges, wore the good conduct bars. So 1 stripe in the good conduct signified 3 years of such, 2 stripes 8 years, and 3 stripes 13 years. Distinguishing badges denoted the job of the specific sailor and were worn on the upper right sleeve for all ranks save the chief petty officers, who wore on their collar. The ones depicted were worn on the blue uniforms, however it follows the pattern of the previous ratings, gold being on the number 1 dress and white being on the white uniforms. Using the gunnery branch as a progression example, you can see how the badges grow as the rank grows. A gun layer 3rd class wore 2 cross guns, a gun layer 2nd class added a star, a 1st class had 2 stars, a gunner's mate had a star and a crown, and a gunner's mate 1st class wore 2 stars and a crown. Some examples of other distinguishing badges are shown to the right and follow the same progression as the gunnery branch. Finally, to put it all in perspective, I will explain the different types of uniforms and how those ranks and rating badges all match up. So first, to the left, you can see the different cover devices for the officer ranks, specifically the military branch. So boatswain through lieutenant commander wore no oak leaves, Commander through Commodore wore half oak leaves, and the admiral ranks wore a full oak leaf cover. To the right, you can see some of the uniforms the Royal Navy comprised themselves of. The uniforms were separated by 3 classes, a Class 1 uniform being worn by chief, petty officers, and above. Most ratings wore the Class 2 uniform, while the ratings that didn't have to keep watch around the clock, such as accountants, naval police, and such, wore the Class 3 uniforms. So the distinguishing badges and good conduct badges all on the same positions for each uniform, just with a little bit different design. And so in the example uniforms, you can see how these badges line up on the uniforms and the different type of uniforms. Here are some more examples of the different uniforms worn, continuing with those class distinctions and the 3 different types being the number 1 dress, the working dress, and the white tunic. Alright, this gives you a brief overview of the different types of insignia and rank structure in the Royal Navy. If you want more information, I've included links in the description below, and give me any suggestions for new videos in the comments below. Thank you.